This then is a big red bus, not the sort of thing we normally clean, but when we saw it there, looking a little bit tired and in need of a good bit of attention and TLC, we just couldn't resist. So we approached Marsh Farm and asked if we could clean it, in return for a small bit of advertising of course, quid pro quo and all that. So we plan on giving this a very, very good but very careful wash using pH neutral chemicals to protect the old bodywork, UV protectant on all the rubber seals, non-sulfuric glass cleaners, etc. As you can see, there's little black streak marks running down it. That's actually run off from the rubber. Where the rubber is old and water ingresses into the windowsills, it tends to run down, and that's what causes those little black marks. You sometimes see it on the more modern buses as well. So let's get started. I'm really looking forward to this one. But let's go back in time first, because we shouldn't be touching this until we've explored its history. So come with me all the way back to 1962. Back in the early 60s, Britain was spending a lot of money on nuclear research. At the Atomic Energy Research Establishment in Harwell, they needed a few new buses, so they approached AEC to build the Regent 5 with a Park Royal body, and they had multiple of these units for use as staff transport to and from the local towns and villages, bus stations, train stations, etc. for onward connections. Harwell itself is still going today and is now called the Harwell campus. There's over 200 research organisations on site, 700 acres to play with, and over 6,000 people at any one time, including some of the biggest names from Airbus, AstraZeneca, GlaxoSmithKline and Honda. After its useful life for the AERE, it was then moved over to the Winfrith Atomic Energy Establishment, where it served a similar function. And again, when it reached the end of its useful life there, it was destined for the scrap heap, until a guy called Dave Thomas, who was a part owner of Liverpool Motor Services, bought it, kept it and restored it, repainted it in the LMS livery, and it was pushed into service mainly doing special events and occasional Mersey travel contracts. Presumably things like you see today with Nibs buses and similar, where they do school contracts and that sort of thing. When LMS closed, Dave kept hold of the bus. He joined a new company called Ace Travel, and he took the bus with him. It stood there for quite a long time, unfortunately, with what we believe to be was some gearbox trouble. But sooner or later it was bought out by Barkers, who specialise in wedding hire and event hire of their buses and vintage vehicles, and they repainted it into London Transport red livery, similar to the original Route Masters, and was used successfully for several years for hire and events. For whatever reason, Barkers decided that time had come to get rid of the bus, and then Marsh Farm picked it up, and here it is today. Here endeth the history lesson, and more importantly, we've got some cleaning to do. This is going to take a while, so sit back, make a cup of tea, and enjoy the ride. The first thing we're doing here is changing the signboard out. It said special on the front of it, and we want to make it feel a little bit more localised, so we're swapping it out for a piece that actually says Marsh Farm on it, which is where it's at. Don't worry about the little air bubbles that you can see, they will settle down, and I did go back and check them a little bit later on in the day just to make sure, and put a couple of little pinpricks in the bigger ones to make sure they're all nice and flat, so there's no issues down the line with it bubbling or liquid retention or anything like that. The actual clean itself, we're using a pH neutral snow foam from Dirt Busters. We're coating the whole side of the bus to get it nice and wet, and the snow foam itself will start to work pretty much straight away. It grips on the vehicle, starts to get into the dirt and break it down, and as you can see there is a lot of dirt on here, mostly all that rubber, so hopefully it'll all come off in one go. See, I've got hold of a brush. It looks like a broom, but it's not a broom. It's actually a Vican car wash brush. The bristles on the end are of a special kind, so they're designed not to grab hold of any dirt or grime or anything like that. So it's actually perfectly safe to use that to clean, and given that we do need that little bit of extra pressure on the paintwork, we decided to go with that upstairs where it's worse. And as you can see, my colleague Rob down below with a noodle wash mitt on his hand. It's not normally that size, it's just what he's wearing, taking care of the bottom half. Now I should also say it is a bright sunny day, which is good for us because it's always much more pleasant doing cleans in this kind of weather, but it's also bad for cleaning. So we're actually started off on the shady side of the bus so that we could do more in one hit, and then as you see when we go around the other sides, we'll actually slow down and we'll take it more of a panel or two at a time, because what you don't want to do is have the soap dry onto the bus itself, because as with any surface, once you've got something sticky stuck on it, it's a pain in the backside to get back out again. What you didn't see there is that we did of course power wash the whole side down afterwards. We've left it nice and clean, and now we're starting on the back. You can see over in the corner there our absolute pile of bits and pieces we brought with us to do this. All of our cleaning materials are there, everything we could possibly need and then some, just to make sure that we've got plenty and don't need to stop midway through to go and fetch something from the office. I do apologise about the fidgetiness of the camera. The drone decided for whatever reason that it wasn't going to sit exactly where it was supposed to. Behind the drone there is another farm building, so it may just be that where it's sitting a little bit too close, there is a bit of a breeze today. It may have just been unsettling itself because there wasn't enough air around it to do what it needed to do to remain stationary. So as I said a little bit ago, we are doing smaller panels at a time on this side because, as you can see, the sunlight is beaming down on us. So we're going to do 2 at a time. We're going to wash them, soap them, scrub them, rinse them, and then move on to the next one. You can start to see the difference already, especially on this side where it is sunny, where we've just rinsed that. That is a huge difference. We've gone from being quite a flat, matte looking red paint to quite a glossy one. The snow foam and the soap that we do use both do contain small amounts of carnauba wax, which of course goes on the paint as you're washing and leaves a nice glossy finish. Now, as you can see, we've switched down to doing 1 panel at a time. You probably saw us having a little chat a minute ago, and that's because we decided that actually it'll be more efficient to do it this way, because there was a little bit too much overspray and a little bit of soap starting to dry on, because that heat really was beating down on us at this point. I think we both went home quite sunburned at the end of the day. does have to be said that we found with our pressure washer that the Dirtbuster snow foam wasn't that grippy, so it goes on and it immediately starts to run down. In this case that's absolutely fine, because we didn't want anything that was going to start eating its way too much into the paint, but at the same time, you know, your mileage may vary with different snow foams on different pressure washers. So you may see a video online on YouTube or similar where someone's got a Karcher pressure washer and uses, you know, X brand ultimate super sticky snow foam, and it goes on and literally looks like glue. And then there'll be another one where somebody with a different pressure washer brand with a different snow lance with the same snow foam brand and product will experience a runnier solution. It's all down to the pressure washer itself coupled with the product. Every single one is different. We do use a stickier snow foam ourselves generally, which is by Built Hamber. But in this case, as I said, you know, we wanted to make sure that it ran off easily and didn't try to start attacking the paintwork at all. So off screen here, the reason nothing seems to be happening is because the drone battery was going flat and we was also retopping up the snow foam itself. So at this point, we are resetting, getting the camera set up exactly where we need it to be. We're floating the drone around the other side of the vehicle with a fresh battery in it, and away we go again. I'm sure there's a cup of tea or two in there somewhere as well. But of course we cut that part out. We did offer those ladies a free shower, but they declined our invitation, so we just had to wait for a moment while they hopped in before we carried on. And you may have noticed that we haven't quite got all the way to the top of the bus there, to the roof. That's because the condition of the paintwork where it meets the actual roof itself, as you may have seen from some of the aerial shots there, isn't fantastic. So what we didn't want to do was put too much pressure on it, or too much soap, too much scrubbing in case it started to peel away. So we went back afterwards by hand and did those. But obviously by that point we figured there's not much point putting that in the video, because it's literally just us leaning against the side of a bus on the top of a ladder with a wash mitt. That's the on-site nursery you just saw walk past. Marsh Farm has an excellent daycare facility for the younger children, the Twizzle Tops nursery. If you'd like to check that out, I do believe there is a bit of a waiting list at the minute if I'm not mistaken. So switching round to the front for the final part of the snow foam and brushing off with the soap. The reality is on the video, we're only 15 minutes into the video, and that's what, 10-11 minutes of actual video time of us cleaning. This was about 2 to 3 hours into the process, so it's sped up a lot. We have cut out a lot just to show you effectively what we do in a much faster, shorter time frame. So now the bus has dried off, we're moving on to all of the glass. The drone has been grounded for the moment because I've run out of fresh batteries. They are on charge, ready for the big reveal. So we're actually using Armor Glass Cleaner to take care of the glass. We're going to be doing both the outside and the inside, upstairs and down. We're then using an Aerospace 303 UV protectant spray on all of the rubber seals. Not only does it turn them back to a nice deep black rich finish, it also helps protect them against the effects of the sun and hopefully will stop them from crumbling any further than where some of them already have. Rob's going at the bodywork with some Bouncers Done and Dusted SI, which is a spray-on polish. You literally just spray it on and then buff it off to a deep shine, as you can see on there. If you look at the back of the bus there, absolutely fantastic finish. So we're going to do this all the way around and then circle back to do the top, which drone is grounded so you won't see on the video. But we've done the whole lot and then we'll go on to the finishing touches. As you can see, it is a painstakingly slow process because we want to make sure that we don't miss anything and that every last little bit of detail is brought out exactly how it needs to be. Even the front grille on this is getting some UV protectant on it as well. Again, it will give it a nice deep sheen, so it helps as a dresser to make the product look great, but it also does protect it. after a quick cup of tea break, we're starting on some of the finishing touches. So all of the tyres, as you can see, they are very well tired, sun exposed, faded, whatever term you want to use. So we're actually bringing them back to life using a bit of CarPro Pearl, using it completely neat straight from the bottom, as you can see, because that will maximise the protection they offer for the longest possible time. We're making sure that we get into all the nooks and crannies on the tyres. We will of course do this all the way around as well on all four. I'm sure you'll agree, the finished result of that is quite amazing. Detailing is always about attention to detail. You know, the clue is in the name. It's not just a normal valet, it's not just a normal clean, it is a detail. And that does mean that you do everything, all the little nooks and crannies. And as you can see with these front tyres, they've got little inlets, ridges, however you want to call them. So it's really important that you get into every single one of those. Take your time, do it properly, because if you don't, it's going to stand out like a sore thumb, and it will look like you're taking your car down to the bobs at Tesco for a quick job. On the metalwork here, we're not using a chrome polish or a metal polish or anything like that. We're actually using wheel wax. It's designed to go on steel or alloy wheels. The whole idea is to protect it from the elements, and as well as giving it a nice, strong, shiny lustre as well. But obviously in this case, it's a static bus. It's not out on the road all the time, it's in situ. So it's really, really important that we protect those metal elements from the other elements and give them the strongest shine that we possibly can in the process as well. So we're actually using the wheel wax to do that, because it will produce a beautiful sheen once we finish. And as you can see, we're also using a giant yellow microfiber cloth for polishing and buffing. This allows you to do the maximum amount of work with the shortest amount of effort, and as you can see, it's doing a real good job of taking the wax back off once it's had a chance to sit, and you can see the difference, especially with those headlights, of just how shiny they are. So here it is, the finished article. I think this took us somewhere around about 6 hours in total from start to finish, but as you can see, the results are well worth it, and they certainly speak for themselves. This will help keep it protected for many, many months to come, and hopefully will last it all over the summer season. It may just need a quick spruce up in time for winter. Hope you enjoyed watching, guys. We have got more big cleans planned. Can't say too much about it at the moment though. Hey, don't forget to check out the Marsh Farm website. It's an amazing day out. Lots of animals, lots to do with your children. And a really good farm shop as well. I do love me a bit of food. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you of course get told about anything new that we're doing. And I really do wish they had painted that roof. See you later, guys.